All right. Thank you, Max. There's John. Bob, I did talk to the sheriff real quick back
Yep.
over on the income.
Yep, did too.
And did you make an,
I have not since lunchtime began,
okay,
because it looks like it's mainly, they're talking about a 2020.
correct.
And maybe like, do you have a number there?
Well,
I was,
we were thinking that 650 was going to be pretty safe. But did you have a number that you,
oops, let me see. Crap, what am I doing here? Let me put a 0 in there so it'll be happy. I thought from what they were saying, that could be maybe like upwards of $20,000 a month, unless I got that wrong.
right,
No, this was, Kevin, this is
Oh.
something different. They found
Hey,
another.
you're talking about different than what we're talking
okay.
about.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait a minute, that's not.
Okay, Terry, you
No.
come up and explain it then to me
Yeah.
better, so I understand, and make
Sheriff,
sure we're getting it
Sheriff.
correct.
There's a, yeah.
Because it's 591 plus the 20,000 a month, is that the number?
Yeah, so what, we have three different billings we do from the jail. One is the F6, the holds for those F6 felons. That's the 520,000
Okay.
right now. And then we also have a billing for parole violators that we hold, and we believe that's approximately right now $70,000. And then we also have a third billing, which is called state felons, and that's the F1 felons through the F5s. And right now, historically tracking, back in May, DOC was billed approximately 20,000. In June, approximately 20,000, and then in July, it was 27,000. So what's going on now, DOC is not taking in the DOC inmates from county jails because of COVID and trying to figure out how to house them in there. So county jails now are housing the DOC inmates like we did years ago, and the revenue is increasing again. So historically, if you look at it, it could average 25,000 for the rest of the year out. August, September.
And my number here, my 642, that was from July 1 through August 19. So it's got
Okay.
the July and August in it. So I was thinking, you got September, October, November, December, 4 months.
Okay.
You can maybe add easily 75 to 80,000, or maybe higher than that, but.
So you've seen
So you're-
receipts for that new line that he just found? Because you had the parole
Yes,
thing
yes,
and then,
yes.
okay.
But that's for
Okay.
2020 only? Is that-
Yes.
Yeah, it's a current, yeah, right now.
Okay.
So the mathematical calculation may change again, as I understand it, starting in 2021 with what DOC does. So that's yet to be seen.
Okay.
And that's good news for what we're anticipating the cash balance at the end of the year. And when we're doing that 18-month revenue and expenditures, I mean, it does make that number look better. So
Right.
if I put in 80,000 for the second half of this year, and I guess, but it seems like there's some other, this parole stuff, that's going to continue next year, right?
Yeah,
That's-
you would
is
have
that-
to assume so, yeah.
That's not a COVID thing necessarily.
No.
Right.
So whether you want this 625 to be a little bit higher,
That's what I was thinking, that the 21 number ought to be at least, because, yeah, if we're going from almost 723, well, and then with the 20,850 we've already gotten, so to go from in the 740 range down to 625 seems pretty drastic.
and if you got $20,000 the first half of 20, and I would think that's really wouldn't be much COVID impact there. If you said 40,000, since that was 20,000 for a half year, so for 21, if you had 40,000 on that or something to
Yeah.
that effect?
So I think for the rest of this year, the next 5 months, let's just use the low figure we have now of 20,000. There's your 100,000 there for the next 5 months, for 20.
And I just did 4 months. So I do have some August in, I mean, maybe I'd be more conservative than September, October, November, December.
Yeah, August billing hasn't been done, so we don't know that.
But I mean, for what we received, because
Yeah, you'd have to assume that's gonna go up. When the numbers for, the $20,000 and $27,000 a month was there, our population was low. So now you have all the courts are backed up, trials are backed up, they're gonna be sitting in county jails a lot longer than what they have been in the past. Should very well carry over into next year.
Right. So 665 should be a pretty, very conservative
Yeah.
estimate, potentially.
I could make it whatever you,
Well, you
that,
make it so something so we can go home, Bob.
think I can make
So-
125.
So if
if
we're
we're
thinking
done.
722 is what you think it's gonna be at the end
Well,
of the
740, because you got to remember, we've already gotten 20,850. So
Right.
that's,
So-
so,
We got 642, 881 between July 1 and August 19. And so now I've added 80,000 at 20,000 a month for the last
for the
4
balance of the
months.
year.
I think that's
So,
probably conservative.
And we
Right.
think it's gonna be going
and
back
so,
up.
so if it's going to be going up, I wouldn't, are
don't
we
we put
thinking
700?
seven and a quarter?
Yeah,
I mean,
For next year?
yeah.
It could, they try to stay away.
I mean, we're looking at you guys, is that realistic, or,
The way the trend is right now, I believe so.
okay.
I think it, oh my goodness, sorry. I think it's realistic, and we don't know how they're, I
They're
got you
sleeping back there, so.
Waking everybody up.
And I don't know what the new formula is gonna be from the DOC. Since they did the original formula, per diem's gone up $2.50 a day. So you would assume that increase, the 520,000 that's guaranteed is going to go up, you would assume. And when they look back at the numbers, we were holding more F6s at the time than we did the previous years. And it, add to that COVID, the number that are sitting in your jail because they're not taking them, that's gonna help. So without knowing how they're gonna do their new formula, you just assume that the 520 that's automatic, you assume that's gonna go up. They're gonna be held in our jails longer. I don't wanna say stuck, but unfortunately for them, that's because of COVID, it's gonna get backed up. Then you're gonna have all the new people coming in, parole violations and things like that.
So what's the thoughts from the rest of the council? I don't want to be trying to dictate what the number ought to be, but
I
I
think
was
you could almost
thinking,
probably put it at
I'd be comfortable
700,000.
easily
Think?
at 700, if
It'd
not
be
a little more.
close.
yeah, I was thinking 7 or
Seven,
7 and a quarter.
Yeah.
I was thinking probably close to 7.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I say 7.
7, okay?
Can we go back to lunch, come back again, we can get it up to 8?
Go to lunch again.
And then the number will be higher.
Yeah, Terry and I learned something at lunch. That was, I didn't realize the F1 to F5.
Okay.
Flip side, that's, if it's this COVID impact, that'll come back down again, but we just didn't win.
If it is, but if we get through and everything goes back to normal, you'll probably see it more towards the 20,000 range per month. If we go through another, if COVID continues and they quit taking people, it's gonna lean towards more the 27,000 a month
Yeah,
extra. So
gonna be some, yeah,
you don't want it.
No.
right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's helpful.
Now we got the fairgrounds, you only gotta make like $30.
Dave's got that in his back pocket.
You just spent on lunch.
Oh, he's spending it on lunch.
We're at the rural
Rich out
king
of
and
luck
bought more
now.
pretzels.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Well, Terry, I'm glad you came back up because I would have been shooting too low still. So, thank you.
Is Dave coming up here?
Yeah,
I can't see from behind.
Commissioner Byers,
Not
are you
right
gonna
now.
come up and talk about the fairgrounds?
Negative
She's
one.
saying no.
Okay.
So I guess that means it's you.
45,000.
Yeah.
So what is our
Negative
now?
46,000.
46.
Yeah.
So we need another, so,
Oh, that's all it took, just a shake?
Tony Dildine didn't make it back. Okay. Talked to Shirley, basically a marketing person, coming up with about officially going away on this, $49,114 potential salary in that range, marketing person. Some of you might remember, and I know some of you are new, our marketing feasibility and scope analysis, what we did before we really kicked in on this thing. It was coming in here saying, depending how aggressive we get on using it, low, medium, high, of basically adding one person, we get to the medium range, add 2 people if we get to the high range for the personnel. Well, I was talking to Tony Dildine a little bit before, which I think is something the rest of us really kind of need to chit chat, whatever. Is combining the Y and the fairgrounds as kind of one maintenance hub. That's really what we want to do. And we can probably look at it as one custodial hub is what we can kind of do. And like Tony says, he says, I think initially he was talking to Y, he's going to need at least probably 2 more maintenance people, probably 2 more custodian people, and things like that once we get the Y kicked open. So by combining these, we can figure out for sure where we're at. Talking to Mr. Klein last night, the marketing position is what we're looking at, and what he was initially thinking of is maybe on the extreme high side of $50,000 for part-time. And using the part-time, as we explained initially, people to work weekends, things like that, open doors, closed doors, keep the thing functioning until we really understand how this is taking off. I think that's the easiest way to say that. Like Tony had said earlier, by combining kind of Y/fairgrounds together, we should get another HVAC person. Gary does a wonderful job on all these operations, but we probably should have somebody on part of this maintenance crew, whoever we're looking at, that can work those 2 buildings together. So initially, and as I said, we weren't gonna ask for any of this stuff this year. We were looking at come January, see what the unappropriated funds are, come in and then try to get this position of what we're saying is the marketing director, which is ready to take off, roll, go. And then, as we build up, start adding more maintenance people. I think you said an excellent thing, and we talked about that too last night. Let's say we have a livestock show in there. In 2 days, all of a sudden, we have a trade show coming in. Well, you gotta get clean. It's gotta look presentable. And that might be up there with lifts, cleaning off HVAC or your pipes and things like that and getting the dust up and out. So until we can understand truly what's knocking on our door, I don't want to sit here and tell all of you, and I think we need 3, 4 more people, when maybe we don't. But then again, we may be getting hammered, as many people as we keep hearing or calling, we may need that. Because the people out there still have to have a life. I mean, you're thinking an average event, let's say it from 10 to 2, they're doing a lunch thing. And then all of a sudden, you gotta have it clean for the next group that's coming in from 3 to 8. You know, that means somebody's sitting there from 10 till 10. So, on how we end up putting the facility together.
Mhm.
So, to add to the budget, I don't think we need to do that right now. From what I'm hearing, listening, because I already heard the sheriff say he's willing to donate another 100,000, so it's okay. But that's the way I look at it right now. But I think it's something that we're gonna have to sit together with Tony and Andy and really figure out how do we wanna kinda combine those 2 forces, the Y/fairgrounds under the maintenance umbrella, and that we're really utilizing both sides of the fence. out there.
Do you think you'll have a better handle at about that same time of what might be the potential as far as the revenue side of the equation at about?
I think we can, I think easily by next year's budget.
Well, that's what I'm, yeah.
We'll easily know, because if we already know we have stuff booked from August 1st to the end,
To the end of the year.
I mean, if we're firing up first part of the year, give or take next year, and we're already starting to book places, and we're already starting to get things signed in, I think we'll be easy to figure out the so-called revenue. Now, I doubt if Lisa and Jody and Ben have seen this, and I can get copies of this old feasibility study if you want.
I would
to
like
have
one.
copies
Yeah.
of it or whatever, and we can go that direction.
I think I have that.
You may, okay, you may have this one. But it's what we pay to do it, and kind of gives us some rough guidelines. I mean, here are the revenues. I mean, if I can, total revenue, depending on where low, medium, or high, is less expenses. Revenue was, 300 and some thousand to 400 and some thousand to 500 and some thousand. So it's, once again, it's how many, and I know this was a very conservative report that was put together.
So you don't feel that in this budget, we should put the marketing director in it?
If you think you have that extra 50,000 right now, yes, but then you gotta add the benefits. And I mean, you gotta add back the health insurance.
So what is that total, do we know what that total,
Full person, we're spending
Amount would be-
25,000 on, or more than that, 30? Time you get social security, time you get.
But realistically, Dave, are we probably talking about this person's not going to be hired until a good portion of the way through the year
Well, if we
next year
start-
anyway?
If we know by January how your funds are, I would love to have this person by March 1st theoretically.
Okay.
So we're
So
building
it could
up-
be easily something that we could evaluate what our cash balance is coming into the beginning of '21
What's the
and
unappropriated
making that
funds?
additional appropriation and then
Right.
doing
If we know we're
something.
gonna do it, we got the fairgrounds, why don't we do 9 months for that person with benefits and have that one done anyway? I don't think this 100, this 50 or whatever, we just need to decide what line of health insurance or take it out of or to put it back into or whatever. I think we're so close that we need to, as with every other department, if we know we're gonna be hiring somebody, we should just get it in the budget.
Okay, the other question is, can we use EDIT funds? There's a balance there. This is true economic development. And eventually, in my mind, this needs to be self-sustaining. I mean, if we're gonna be seeing revenues, then we need to be able to pay everything out of those revenues and be self-sustaining. So why not budget and eat it for this person? Because if you really wanna get this thing going and rocking next year, you really wanna have a person on board as soon as you can, because events are gonna wanna be starting to schedule the beginning of the year for, are you trying to drown me out?
No, I was trying-
He's cleaning it,
Oh,
you know,
I
after
was
the
touching
sheriff
this
was up
thing, you know,
there.
and I just,
So, I mean, I would think, let's put a line item in and get it ready to go so that we can get it, get it posted and get somebody on board as soon as you can, beginning of next year, sometime first quarter.
I totally agree with that.
I do too. And I think that we need to set the bookkeeping up so we can see it all in one place, just like
Right.
it's a separate business, that you can see how, if it's 3, 4, 500, what the impact is, that'll help you adjust rental rates and cleaning rates and all those things, and it just needs to be set up as a separate business unit with the accounting. Is there EDIT room for that person for next year?
Bob?
Well, my math, quickly, I don't know if anybody's answering back there, but again, you got 16.1 million of cash at the end of June. You've got $13 million difference between the net budget of 20 and the spent the first half of the year, so you got, if you spend and you're not gonna do that, you spend everything in your EDIT budget you have appropriated and encumbered right now, you're spending 13 million.
But that's always a,
Right, but if you did, worst case scenario or best case scenario, whatever it
That
is,
never happened.
you spend all of it, you still have $3 million of
So 9 months of a
Well, I can,
49,000 plus
114.
the other, yeah, 114 plus the other expenses related to that,
So you just say 80,000,
yeah. Just,
basically.
yeah.
I like that idea too, because it is true to eat it. But second, once
Yeah.
the thing gets going, we pull it,
Pull it out of eat it
pull that
and put it
into
over.
the fairgrounds
Right.
fund, or whatever we call it.
Whatever, yeah.
But that's a good way to get it, at least give us the nest egg money that we need to get this thing rolling and get it started.
The line, Paula, do you want it under? Just pick a spot. Put it in with the. Put it in with the grant.
what's she saying?
Put it in with the grant writer, grants.
Well, I'm just,
Just make it separate.
for now, I'm just putting it in right there just so I can get that number in there and make sure that that's. No, because I think I would end up, it would go into this line here, the full-time employee line. Yes. Which is probably where Sharon is.
Right.
And then you just, it's not gonna, we did cut this, didn't we? Because
And
we can't give more than what we, no, we'd be okay, I think.
You've cut needed, you're okay.
Yeah, we would, so.
So how much are we gonna put in there?
80?
80.
Well, I put in,
You put in 9 months.
I put in 75% of the 49,114 as a salary. So I put
And so
in,
that's the 36,836. And then you put in the social security and perf,
and that
and they
goes,
match.
that goes
Well,
automatic.
Start April 1st. Got the first quarter off.
Yeah, that's what we were saying, 3/4 of the 49,114 is the
Yeah.
36,836.
But do you think you should give a little leeway in case you find somebody? I mean, I don't think hiring somebody in February would be unreasonable. I mean, for this type of a facility. I mean, that's just,
The budget is so big and, I mean, you could put in the whole, you're not,
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't just put the whole thing in, you don't use it, you don't use it, but at least it's
Right.
there. You find the right person, you don't want to let them walk.
and if you're having inquiries now, who are you directing, you know, the businesses?
Right now,
and-
Andy has the list of all the names.
Andy's the one kind of managing that at this point, but it
Now-
probably
now,
would
I'm-
be better
I'm
to
not
have
sure, like,
somebody
on
that's
here-
actually pushing it.
I'm not sure I need to change the health insurance. Because you've only used 36,000 through 6 months and I don't know. So 100,000 with another employee added is still,
Plenty.
that could probably have been cut, the 100,000, so I just leave that alone and.
You're on the 49,144?
Yeah, that's what I've got in there, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go make copies for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we all satisfied with that? What other budgets, Bob, did we need to at least be able to say we've reviewed and approved, so to speak?
Let me just go through them all, if you can give me time for that, okay, there's Eat It, gone through that. Clerk record perpetuation, we've discussed that.
Discuss that.
Corrections, user fees, not sure we didn't really.
We didn't really talk about that specifically because we were focused on the general fund when Jason was actually here, and we probably should have talked about this, but that one's pretty well set forth by the user fees that are available anyway.
Sales disclosure fund, which is the assessor fund, which mainly everything paid out of there are the certification fees, the $1,000, $1,500, $2,500, depending on who it is. That's mainly what that is. And with this fund, half of the receipts of that go back to the state. That's what this 20,000 down here is. That's why it's half of what the revenue is. So we really don't have anything there. Bridge. Cap.
Cap, we talked about that.
Talk.
General drain
General drain
improvement.
improvement, that's Zach is
Excuse
here, isn't he? Zach
Yes,
was here.
Zach is here.
I don't know if there's
but
any.
I don't know if
He-
there's
I think he
really-
mentioned this.
Yeah,
we
he
didn't
did.
talk
He
about
did.
it.
He did.
guess, if there are any questions from any council members when we're scrolling through these, you need to speak up quickly, so we don't. miss
ID
anything.
security, that's a recorder one where there's a fee on recordings, and then we use some of, all the money, kind of go back to the next year, and to pay for the recorder computer system, we pay for it out of here. This was the deducting social security numbers initially, so we just, and it's still in there, I think they've got that part done, so they're paying for their system out there. Local health maintenance,
What's that one?
That's one of the health
It's the health
department's.
department.
Fund?
Funds, and I don't remember now, right off the top of my head,
well, we
where
just
the
got part-time.
original source of that funding even was.
Seems like local health maintenance used to be the old cigarette
Yes.
money
and
that we
I
got
think it
from
was.
the settlement.
Mhm.
Is that gonna be running out of money?
Well, no, I think they always have the appropriation be the same as their revenue, if I remember
Yeah,
right.
Okay,
I don't have, they didn't turn anything in there, but it's,
yeah.
like,
I see that, yeah, they spend what
yeah, I
they
can see the
make, yeah.
2019 revenue, 72,672.
and this
I'm
is half of
pretty
that
sure-
number, so we're getting that
Right.
much money
That-
every year.
that's the
I don't have
money-
anything in here, but maybe I'm not brave enough to put 72,672, but I'm pretty sure that's what that would be.
Okay.
Because
Right.
that's what they've got
'Cause that's
their
what they
request
budgeted.
at.
Right.
So maybe I will be brave enough to do that, or the council gonna approve that. So we'll at least have a number in the system. Local
Okay.
road and street. Public safety, do we talk about that?
Well,
I
we've
think
talked
we
about
might.
that at least like a
20
half
times.
second,
Okay, yeah.
millisecond.
So we'll just go right through it.
Do we have any other questions about the
Major
public
bridge.
safety?
Highway research.
The sheriff doesn't want to come back up here again.
I'll have some.
There's the personal property audit fund, and Eric's got maybe a new little thing to check out on that. Public fund, that's my little fund that we use. It's a fee when somebody records a deed. And rainy day fund, we have nothing budgeted there. Reassessment. That was briefly mentioned. Recorder perpetuation, after all the recorder stuff comes out of there. And this is one, by the way, this is one that statute says it does not have to be appropriated, but Shannon does it just so we have something in the system, or else you have nothing in there. And with this particular thing, she puts in 200,000 here. She doesn't use it, but it's there, so she doesn't have to come back. The sheriff's service fee fund, oh, this is one.
We're gonna
We
add
do need to do this
10,000.
one here. Yeah, this one, I can increase this to 133,559. And on, I think there's a sheet in there, it's probably not up to date. It's the collections that we have in that fund from ending July. So it's the 12 months in there, and then we use this just for sheriff retirement money. I think I took it away from the general fund to account for this, but we didn't increase this one. And when they're turning in the budget, they don't know what that balance is, so that's something we usually. The local health trust, that another health department thing there where their revenue and their budget's the same. Unsafe building, this is one, if they need to take down a building, I think we talked about that, Jody knows about this, but if they have to take down a building because it's unsafe, we have money that, and we usually just try and appropriate basically the cash balance so that we don't want them to have to wait to take down a building to get the appropriation, so. CASA,
Nothing there.
eligible homestead, which talked about that a little bit. Elected official training fund, and obviously this year, we're doing mainly all virtual training, so we're not spending anything, and so that balance is
So it's just rolling over.
rolling
adding.
along there with 911, probation user fees, and that one. You can see for some of the newer people here, like back into 16, we had 55,000, which is pretty darn close when you got $300,000 budget and we're down to cash of $56,000, and we did move some people over to the general fund, and we've worked on that to get that one built up, so now we're doing really
We're at a pretty
well in
good
there.
place with that one again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one had been trouble for about a 5-year window there.
Yeah,
that
well,
was
because you
like
can
a-
see, it's sliding, one thing starts sliding
It was
downhill, it's hard to stop them, but
bad.
you have to make a real effort, so. That's the court services fund that, this one where we, I don't know, oh, I guess we did do that. Already did that.
Yes, lower that one, yeah.
See my little box there. And violence in community, this is one that doesn't even exist anymore really, but we still do have some new monies coming in. And at some point, I'm not sure what that point is when we want to take the cash, because we're still getting little bits of old bills that people are paying, but we do have at some point 17,000 we probably need to move to the other fund, because we can do that. Jury pay
What other fund would that go into?
to the,
To the,
2560 or 2580 fund. The way I understand it, that money can roll into the substance abuse, but substance abuse could not roll into the violence in community.
okay.
Jury pay, there's no, Rollins not there, but there was no change there, I guess. Family counseling, which is a Superior 2. Recycling, I think I was going to maybe mention this, if any of the commissioners would know anything about this. I don't think we did not get a form back, and I don't know if there's any, we're getting some monies in there all the time, it's starting to build up, but I have no appropriation. Where I think, isn't this the money that we used to give West Lafayette?
No?
Well,
The only thing you get back.
but we used to give them $40,000 a year, wasn't it?
Yep, it comes out of you.
Well, it used to come out of there, and then when this ran short, then it came out of you.
But now this one is just from, we have some receipts that are coming in here.
That's,
Yep.
they very small?
Well, we got
that's someone Tony takes stuff from.
$8,500 in 6 months. So $1,000 a month.
Oscar Whiskey when we like scrap metal.
Yeah.
That's,
But, I mean, at some point, what we can use this money for, we could,
Solid Waste District.
Yeah?
Yeah.
do you? How much is in there? $78,000.
77,970?
We can, and that's 6110 number, right? The transfer? If I put it, so I'll just, if I put, you mean put that whole balance in there, or I put 75,000 or whatever for an appropriation? I will have an appropriation, the 6110 is to transfer out to another fund. Well, this isn't even really transfer out to another fund. How does that work, Doug? We got money here, but going to the solid waste district, that's not another fund we really maintain?
Yeah, that's true.
Is that still 61, would that still be a transfer out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's a different entity.
Or would I use, and that's just us using the number, would it be like support of agency support? Okay, we'll figure out a number, but,
So,
Why don't we, should we do this on next Thursday and do some research on this?
sure, sure.
you mean we're gonna actually have to do real business on Thursday night?
It's not in and out now. A parking garage, that wasn't really mentioned, but that one's doing pretty well. Fairgrounds donation, this is another one we try to appropriate. And we did some in a 3 series and some in a 4 series, one for capital and one for other. So he's got 8,500 out of the $17,000 cash balance to give a little flexibility. They can pay something if they need to. Health Department, this is the donation section. Talked about parks. Surveyor donation. Is that Zach here? Hey, Zach. I mean, this is just my little question right now. I've got $13,000 cash balance in your donation fund. I got 22,000 request with 2,000 revenue, that doesn't really, my appropriation shouldn't be more than 15,000. You know what I'm saying?
Because you're saying we're appropriating more than cash balance in there?
Okay, plus what we anticipate, if the 2,000 is,
We anticipate more, that's the reason why, I think, the answer to that.
is
So
there,
the gifts and donations should be,
I can either raise this one or lower these?
yeah, should it be more like 10,000?
As far as what's anticipated to come in,
Yeah,
yes.
if you say 10,000, I'm happy. Okay,
Yes,
okay, all right, I'm happy now.
yes, the anticipation was that more would come in this calendar year than came in last year, so that's why we raised it, so.
Okay.
Obviously, with everything that has happened, I can't make any guarantees, but that was the thought process.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think I get anything from Villa, but we have already done their,
I asked her about whether or not we ought to have any sort of appropriation from the donation fund, and she made note of it, and I don't know if it ever got onto her
I
radar.
don't think we received anything.
No.
If you tell me to put in $50,000 there, I can,
Yeah, I'd say go ahead and put in 50,000, so at least they've got something earmarked if they would want to do something.
I would be tending to put it down here. This is more a
Yeah.
generic in sidewalks and curbs,
Probably.
because their sidewalks are in good shape, aren't they? Carry home, and I think this one, maybe, I think I might have mentioned this before, but that one came in a
Yeah,
little bit
we-
later, but we got that one taken care of. Law enforcement warrant fund, talked about that one. Jail lease, we did not talk about this one, but this is what we need to pay yet in 2021 as the last payment. I put $700,000. We were having some real issues with Gateway. There was some software problems at the state. I ended up just, my guess is we're going to have $0 of property tax next year. I mean, we have another payment after this one, but we've got like close to $500,000. We have $133,000 sitting in another reserve fund that we will need to be moving over, or $116,000, that's what this is here. If you're okay with that, that's. I got the $1 million there for health insurance transfer. Project fund. This number's probably low on the property tax side. Revenue. And there's Zach's.
F Lake. Yeah, we at least looked at those before, didn't we? Okay.
Yeah, I went through them kind of faster now, didn't I?
Yeah. It's like.
But you looked at it, you saw 'em.
Making me have motion sickness here.
You want to look at those again? There they are. Any questions?
Yeah, we're supposed to be done by 2, right, Raleigh?
By 2, okay.
30.
I said 235.
All right.
237.
Yeah.
It's gotta be a 7, that's right.
We have our research done, and we can, those are chipping keys from Best Buy, so if you can appropriate those, we can cut 75,000 out of.
Do you remember what that fund number was?
4013.
Thank you. And we'll figure out what line, you want to do, how much, 75?
Yeah, 75.
Okay. Then, let me just get that all taken care of, and then up and eat it in what, that we did, that, I can't get out of Zach here. Well, I was looking down here, we didn't put anything, no, because I would, oh, no, that's that, okay.
I was like,
Well, I was thinking, because that should be in this line, is where that should have been, I would say. The transfer out, but if you had it in 3190, that, oh, okay, oh, okay. Okay. Now they can add your position there.
Hey, now we
Kathy.
have the fairgrounds marketing person.
I think we're basically done now. There's my F Lakes and those.
Lake, Jenner, yeah,
Phase two, and I think
Phase
there's
two
only
we
one
did.
more after that.
yeah.
Francis Powers Trust, that's a carry home thing. Fence, that one shouldn't have, I should have hid that one, that shouldn't have been in there. And Clerk 4D, we talked about, that's the last. Oh, no, community corrections grant.
Community corrections grant,
Yeah, that's the end of
that's
the,
another one of them that's,
that's the end of the.
that's
road.
a July 1 to July 1, or June 30th.
Yeah. So we still have the
Little we are.
Little We All and the solid waste and this Convention Visitors Bureau. Or do you want
Okay.
to go back to anything on general fund, or are you
I-
set on that one?
I think we're set, unless there's somebody else that has a $45,902 cut somewhere that they can make.
I really wouldn't have any problem with health insurance if you cut that by 46,000.
I'd-
Okay, go ahead.
Cut it there.
Wait, was it?
Wait
what
a
was my number?
minute.
It's like there's something wrong with your formula. Uh-oh.
Boy, what-
We gotta start over?
I think so.
Dang it! We were so close.
So close. Start from the top. Auditor.
I'm at 46,000 of that. How can that not be? Oh, well, one thing, I need to subtract that.
Yeah, that would help.
All right, I'm gonna make it 48,000. Hopefully that's gonna make it go away.
yeah.
Okay, there.
There we go.
Get crazy, go a little more.
48,000.
All right. Are you ready for these?
Yep, let's go into Little We All.
Lisa and Ben? did-
No
No change.
That's exactly.
Okay. Whoop, that was a little quick there, Bob. What was the total of their request?
80,700,
Okay.
the same as
Same
previous.
as
2 years,
previous 2
anyway.
years. Okay. All right. Tippecanoe County Solid Waste. Sounds like a Tom issue.
Is he coming up?
Yeah.
We've been at this too long.
Do you have questions?
Do we have questions for Tom?
It seems like we just addressed this budget when I did an additional appropriation at
Yeah,
last
back
month's.
at our last month's meeting, regular meeting.
If Tom's not gonna be talking there, I'll talk here. When we were doing the budget forms, from what the state gave us, the maximum levy for the solid waste district is $261,800.
Okay,
And so we were under the maximum levy. So if we change this to 261,800, which would be, and that's what we advertised, you know, or we will advertise for the levy in there. And then I thought Mr. Murtaugh was saying that we would add that $20,000 to this line.
Exactly.
okay.
Because we're going to deplete that. And have to then roll to those funds we just appropriated from recycling.
Right.
And that does still leave the revenue a little bit higher than the budget, so. It's not,
Yeah, where does that 75 come into play with respect to this?
Will we be transferring it into this, or will we just be
we
paying?
were just gonna be paying bills out there.
Paying out of Eat It then?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
on that one.
Okay, we're good. if there aren't any other comments from the council. Greater Lafayette Convention Visitors Bureau.
Yes. Budget submitted for 21 is less than 20. It has been a challenging year, to say the least. They've been very creative in what they've done, looking at staffing, looking at their operations. We will end up with somewhat of a cash balance by the end of the year that's projected. So I would respectfully ask you to pass this budget. And we have to vote on this, correct, Bob?
This was, yeah, because I was talking about that, 'cause we have resolutions or ordinances on like
all of them.
Little Wheel and do we own Little Wheel, Solid Waste?
Can we don't have to do any sort of roll call or anything, just a normal voice vote?
Because we don't do any advertisement of this at all,
Okay.
so.
All right. So Kathy, are you making a motion?
Yes, I am.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, second from Councilman Murray to approve the 2021 budget for the Greater Lafayette Convention Visitor Bureau budget as presented for $950,000. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved.
Excuse me?
How many employees?
They're listed on that, on
Yeah.
page 70.
On page 70. 1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6.
6, plus then part-time when they use part-time, but we have not used part-time since COVID.
And this is funded with the sales tax, is that?
Innkeeper's tax.
Innkeeper's tax.
I suppose we'll work hand in hand with them for the fairgrounds promotion, hopefully.
And they are, David Byers has communicated with Joe Wade, and they have, yes.
Be good.
Okay. Any other ones that we need to approve or review? Want to do lit public safety again? Is that why you're bringing it around there, Bob?
Just look at my tabs and see if there's anything that's going to jump out at me that. I think we're good.
Okay.
Clarify a couple of action items.
Yes, please.
Lisa and I will be meeting with Julie, hopefully Monday, and we'll get back to you with the results, to have a recommendation on the voter registration board budget number, and to affirm or change the revenue number that she estimated. And then, unless the council prefers otherwise, I'm happy to take the lead on organizing a collaboration meeting for 6 HR, clerk, representatives from 4 and 5, Lisa and I, and a commissioner to be named later. It may be good to have 3 council members. If somebody else was, Kevin, I'll just defer that to you.
Okay.
And think about it and let us know if you want to have a third, and we can still do that and not,
Okay.
do the open door thing. So I believe that was all the action items for us. Just wanted to clarify.
Roland, on my list, I had that you were going to check with election equipment as well. Remember that 100,000 and then there was another 100,000?
But she's going to let us know
She'll let us, okay.
about the grant.
Grant, right.
And then that'll feed us back to,
Okay. That,
so.
okay.
And like
Thank you.
if he comes back and tells me to increase the clerk revenue by 40,000, should I make the reduction of or increase the appropriation for health insurance by that same amount? or just
If
leave it
it goes the
alone.
other way, I'd say that.
I mean, I just, if we can, if it works out okay, if I raise it, there's less likely that I'm gonna have to come back at the end of next year for money for health insurance.
Right.
I doubt that's gonna be necessary, but just give me guidance. If you want me to just, if they increase the revenue for one,
Yeah, I'd, other council members weigh in, but I would say that would be appropriate to just,
up to 48,000. That's what I just added that, okay.
And then just as a consensus, I heard during our discussion regarding the sheriff's salary that you would like the personnel committee to look at other elected officials' salaries as a review and look at that, and then we can discuss that and then possibly budget item for 2022 budget.
Right.
Okay.
And what was the other item we needed to take care of also on September 3rd meeting?
I don't know that, oh,
It was.
well, that was taken care of now, wasn't it?
Yeah, we already took care of that.
Okay, so
The
we,
solid-
so we did take care of it, so we don't need
I
to,
don't-
that won't have to actually be,
So hopefully I will send, well, not hopefully, I will send out some sort of file to tell you where we're at, maybe what was requested and what was approved, line by line, for you to
Okay.
look over. That you'll get that before next Thursday, probably before this week's over.
okay.
Could be before this day's over.
Pretty aggressive.
Okay, so I guess then we can be actually adjourned at this point, correct?
Perfect.
Is that right, Doug?
So
Okay.
moved.
No second, so.
Second.
Oh, I guess we're gonna have to stay here. Get each other.
Motion
We are
died.
adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for all your hard work. Appreciate your efforts greatly.
You too, Kevin.